and welcome back to Football Made Simple. After posting the two greatest points totals in Premier League history, with a combined total of 198 points in back-to-back seasons, Manchester City have struggled badly this season. They still find themselves in second place, mainly due to other teams being in transitional seasons, and their points per game average has tumbled to just above 2. But why exactly have Pep's side struggled so badly this season? In this video, we take a look. When assessing what's gone wrong, we'll focus on 3 key regions, which are personnel factors, tactical reasons, and finally, some statistical factors. 2 of the personnel factors that derailed the season occurred before the league had even started, that being Kompany leaving the club and not being replaced, and Leroy Sané picking up a cruciate ligament injury in the Community Shield final following a foul by Alexander-Arnold. This was soon compounded by Aymeric Laporte picking up a serious knee injury of his own on matchday 5. This meant that City's first-choice centre-back pairing from 18-19 was completely dismantled, with Otamendi coming in for Kompany. To compound this, it meant that their first-choice defensive midfielder from the prior season had to move out of position to centre-back, although he may have been moved away anyway, with Rodri having arrived for big money before the season begun. Up front, Sané's injury meant that Sterling moved to the left-hand side, with Mahrez coming in on the right. So how did this affect the tactics? Let's start by looking at the changes in possession. Their back four has looked like this in most matches, although it should be noted that Mendy is still trying to work his way to his best form after consistent injuries. With a defensive midfielder at centre-back, one would expect improved performance on the ball. However, being right-footed means that when pressed by the centre-forward, the passing options on his stronger foot are cut down, reducing the possible avenues. In addition, this means that he is less confident bringing the ball out from the back than Laporte due to this, as well as the fact that Rodri isn't able to defensively cover as well as Fernandinho did when Laporte dribbled out. As a result, Fernandinho stays deeper. This means compared to Laporte last season, Fernandinho has less passes per game, less progressive passes, as well as progressive carries per game, meaning the start to the build-up play isn't as smooth and may be one of the contributing factors to the lowered possession. Moving into the midfield, Rodri is superb on the ball, being the ideal metronome, getting the ball around the pitch and using his one-touch passing to evade his markers. As a result, he completes more passes per game and has more touches per game than Fernandinho did. But the problem is that whilst he does this, he tends to be more of a rotational passer than Fernandinho, playing short, simple passes rather than helping to break the lines when facing a deep block. As a result, despite making 22% more passes than Fernandinho did last season, he makes fewer progressive passes, fewer passes into the final third, as well as into the box. Last season, with Zinchenko starting at left back, he almost always inverted into midfield and helped Fernandinho with the ball progression. However, Mendy is a more traditional fullback, less comfortable inverting and tends to stay wide. As a result, the onus has been on De Bruyne to often drop deep to make up for the reduced ball progression. So, instead of causing confusion with his positioning in the half space, he's more involved in the deep build-up play in this phase. This is shown by him having less passes into the box and more progressive passes instead, as well as fewer touches in the attacking third. This means that David Silva on the other side has had more attacking responsibility when playing. However, when De Bruyne is deeper, having only one attacking midfielder makes him easier to pick up tightly. This is shown by his reduced creativity, with a lower expected assist per 90, key passes, passes into the final third and more. The fact that he's 34 also means the natural decline may slowly be creeping in, although he is still an outstanding performer. This has meant that at times, Bernardo or Gundogan have started instead, and in games where they do, it is they who drop deeper, allowing De Bruyne higher into his natural attacking positions. But still, Mendy is not comfortable inverting, causing the secondary free 8 to drop deep, making the other much easier to pick up higher up. Higher up the pitch, Mahrez has been one of the best performers this season. In fact, he's statistically outperformed last season's Sané in several key metrics like expected assists, expected goal contribution, shots, key passes, dribble percentage, progressive carries and more. However, Mahrez has completely changed the attacking dynamic of at least 3 other players. In the last 2 seasons, Sané and Sterling were on their strong sides, meaning they would be comfortable holding their width in these situations. This also meant the half spaces just outside the box were left free for the maestros in De Bruyne and Silva to operate. Time and again we saw De Bruyne cross from here or slide in Sterling behind the defense. On the left, Silva and Sane had a perfect relationship, with Silva often feeding Sane through here. As a result, we saw the trademark City goal time and again, the free 8 slipping the ball to the pacey winger who can't be caught, whilst the opposing side winger also cannot be caught, and the ball is squared across for the tap-in. This has completely changed with both Sterling and Mahrez wanting to drift infield onto their strong feet to open up a shot or an opportunity to pass. This is shown by both wingers having more shots per game. This means that they are also crowding the half spaces where City's free 8s like to operate. This could be okay when Gundogan plays, as he can drop deeper alongside Rodri, but if Silva is playing, it reduces his efficiency on the left. On the other side, Mahrez can still lay it back to De Bruyne, however we've seen more than one instance of miscommunication between the two. This also means City have to provide width in other ways besides the wingers. On the left, it's Mendy overlapping, which he does well at times, but again, not as effectively as a Sane would. On the right, at times, we see Walker push up from the right centre-back position. But more commonly, De Bruyne overlaps Mahrez to get the low cross in, on the occasions where Mahrez does pass it to him. With the wingers central, it means that the opposition tend to protect the centre, and City have been more dependent on crossing to their short forwards rather than out-and-out creativity. The wingers central also means that they don't have as many one-on-one situations against the fullbacks, instead coming into traffic, and as such, Sterling's dribble success has fallen. So City's 3-2-2-3 when attacking has changed from having wingers provide the width to the fullback and the free 8 instead, and from the free 8s always in the half space to create, to often the inverted wingers trying to score from these same positions instead. The functions of the forwards have been roughly the same, the major criticism being the poor penalty record of both. However, Jesus is coming in under XG for the third season in a row, something that needs improvement if he wants to take the Aguero mantle. Their positioning also affects their defending. But just before we look at that, if you're unsubscribed, hit that red button, and if you enjoyed this video, a like and a share would be great. Last season, both fullbacks rarely ventured forward, meaning City had 5 able men back on defense. But now, with Mendy high and Silva here, when teams counter they only have Rodri as the first line of defense. Rodri is aggressive in these situations, often looking to pressure high up. But he can be easily bypassed compared to Fernandinho, who would jockey to buy the team time or commit a tactical foul to stop the momentum. This is then exacerbated by Otamendi, who when 1 versus 1 dives into tackles and hopes for the best, and if he is bypassed, the opposition is through on goal. This is shown as the expected goals per shot for the opposition is 0.15, which is quite high, so City tend to give up high quality chances. Even in the set defensive shape, City have problems. They still look to press with a similar passes per defensive action as last season, but just as they have for several seasons now, Silva joins Aguero to press in a 4-4-2, as shown by his final third pressures rising whilst they have fallen in the other regions. This means that Silva's aging legs have to do less running, and the hope is to cut off routes into the midfield. But as Pep himself said, in the prior seasons, this 2-man press would have forced the opposition into a long ball. But now, the opposition take the risk of playing the first pass into midfield, and if successful, they now have a 3 versus 2 in the central regions, which has happened often. Now, it should be noted, Rodri makes significantly more pressures per game than Fernandinho. However, these pressures are often in the wrong scenario, meaning that he is bypassed often, leaving a hole in midfield. He may still be used to Atletico Madrid where he played in a dedicated midfield too, and had Partey covering when he did go to press. But at City, this isolates De Bruyne, who himself is not a traditional central midfielder. So, the City midfield is often easily bypassed, and the opposition are running at a Laporte-less defense. Fernandinho dives into tackles more often than Laporte did, also often coming out of position to do so, but only wins 44% of his challenges. So if he is bypassed, the opposition again have a high quality chance. A couple of other factors to consider. Many of City's key players are aging, meaning the press and concentration wanes near the end of the game, as shown by their defensive stats. In addition, City have been sloppy or unlucky in both boxes, often missing sitters or having Edison let in uncharacteristically poor shots. They have also conceded 5 goals, or 16% of their goals conceded, directly from errors. This, combined with Liverpool being incredibly consistent and getting the rub of the green when necessary, means that City have been comfortably second best. But is there anything else that I missed? And do you think Pep will address these factors when football resumes? Drop it down in the comments below. Check out some other great videos linked at the end of this one. But that's all for today, and remember, keep it simple.